In the news this week, asylum seekers' dispute escalates with detainees refuse to leave the Manus Island camp.
Also, heavy penalties will be imposed on drivers who drive too close to cyclists. Plus, taxi and Uber fares set to rise as government seeks to reform on-demand transport.
This is the Evening News with Ivan Lung and Danielle Staniskov.
Good evening. The refugee crisis on Manus Island has reached breaking point with 600 detainees refused to leave the closed camp. Here at home, citizens responded with protests demanding the Australian government to treat asylum seekers with compassion. Eunice Lau reports.
Protesters showed their solidarity for the men on Manus Island, echoing their plea for help in the city. Around 600 asylum seekers in Australia's offshore detention centre have been cut off from basic needs and left fearing for their lives. Human rights activist Sally Thompson says the situation is dire.
Australia's name, for a start, is being dragged through the mud internationally. Our reputation is suffering a severe blow because of our inhumanitarian treatment of these men. There is no food, there is no fresh water. Most of the men have run out of their medications. There is no IHMS, International Health and Medical Services, available.
Bring them here is the simple message hundreds of protesters have for the Australian government after the closure of Manus Island Detention Centre on Tuesday. Greens Upper House MP Alison Zaman expressed strongly that the Australian government's response to the humanitarian crisis is shameful.
The Australian government should be doing everything possible to get these men out of the situation that they're in. The fact that they have stood in the way of New Zealand being able to provide some sort of assistance to some of these men is diabolical.
Eunice Lau, WAMN News.
There will be tougher penalties imposed on drivers who choose to disobey the 1 metre space rule between bicycles and vehicles on public roads. Police Commissioner Chris Dawson hopes the new laws will ensure cyclist safety on our roads. Taylor Hannah has the story.
Close calls like this triggered policy changes where new WA laws require motorists to allow a 1 metre space when overtaking cyclists. Over the last year, 7 cyclists have lost their lives on our roads.
Everyone's got a right to use the roads. Vehicles don't have sole custody of those roads. They're there for everyone to use and to share.
Those who do not leave adequate space will now face fines of $400 and lose 4 demerit points. The Police Commissioner hopes the new laws will ensure cyclist safety on our roads.
By far what I've seen have been motorists who just simply don't acknowledge a cyclist on the road as having a right on the road, and they do. So this is, I think, a very even-handed way of making sure that we keep all road users safe.
Matt Fulton, CEO at West Cycle, explained that the more people we have on bikes, the less it costs the average taxpayer.
Bike infrastructure is far cheaper, there's less wear and tear on the roads, it's great for our environment and the health benefits to the state economy are brilliant as well.
The state government has now committed to spending $129 million over the next 4 years on shared bike and pedestrian paths. Taylor Hannah, WAMN News.
Taxi and Uber prices are expected to rise, with operators set to be slugged with a 10% levy as part of the new legislation to reform the on-demand transport industry. Transport Minister Rita Saffioti unveiled a raft of changes, including a temporary 4-year levy to fund a voluntary buyback of taxi plates. She urged operators to not pass on the full 10% increase to the public.
We need to reform this industry and bring it into the 21st century. Our proposed reform will bring all operators under the same rules.
Under the buyback scheme, owners of conventional or multi-purpose taxi plates will be entitled to at least $100,000 each plate based on the purchase date, and could rise as high as $250,000.
Christmas trading hours will be extended by an additional 49 hours, with extended trading on public holidays like Boxing Day, New Year's Day and Australia Day. During a visit at the Carousel Shopping Centre, Commerce Minister Bill Johnston says the extensions give shoppers additional flexibility. Despite the rise of online purchasing, Westfield is confident that good shopping experiences will lure people back to the malls.
It's really about forming those social connections and those community connections, and the shopping centre is a great platform for that, and hence why we're adding in more dining and entertainment options to make that easier for people and give them that great place for their whole lifestyle, not just their shopping needs.
The Minister also toured the new 3-level car park at Carousel, offering 700 car bays for shoppers.
PTSD remains the major issue amongst young Australian war veterans, with the Return Service League stating the importance of recognising the significance of mental health. RSLWA CEO John McCourt stressed that mateship is important both on and off the battlefield. He also says the community should appreciate young veterans' contribution to the society.
Mental health is a condition that we need to take very seriously, especially among the ex-service organisations, because the more we are involved in conflict and the more soldiers and sailors and airmen and women go to multiple deployments, the more we're going to see impact on their mental health.
Aung San Suu Kyi has made a surprise visit to Rohingya area where there were allegations of ethnic cleansing. However, it does remain unclear whether Ms Suu Kyi will visit the Muslim community where villages were burnt down. It's understood that more than 600,000 refugees fled to neighbouring country Bangladesh to avoid persecution. 8 former Catalan government officials were sent to jail by the High Court after the region announced independence from Madrid. Catalan's former president is currently in Belgium and did not appear in court. Persecutors from the Spanish government have issued a European arrest warrant against Carles Puigdemont and 4 other ex-ministers who did not appear in court.
And finally, this week Perth took part in the Colour Run Dream World Tour, with participants doused with colour powder from head to toe during the 5-kilometre run. Dreamform clouds were also a highlight of the show, with some runners chose to dance their way through the course. Approximately 18,000 participants turned out to the event, making it one of the most popular events ever held in Langley Park.
And that's our weekly news and current affairs. You can catch the latest news on our website and Facebook. Until then, good night.
Until 5:30 next Sunday, have a good evening.